Welcome back, friends, to Occultists Anonymous, sponsored by Roll20, the Onyx Path, and viewers like you. Thank you very much for joining us on our wacky, magical adventures. The start of our, well, yeah, all of our weekends. Maybe it's the start of yours, and if it's, no.
I work Saturdays.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, man.
So yeah, if you're like Ash or, you know, tons of people around the world who have to work weekends, air quotes, hopefully, you know, this is your Wednesday and it's a little pick-me-up. But yes, a special shout out to our patrons who support us monetarily. Thank you very much, friends who literally give us money. And I mean, if you don't understand how cool it is when people give you money, and what's it like to be you? Thank you to Adele, Al, Alexander, Angfalith, Ald Griffin, A Break for Drew. Thanks, buddy. Bernie, Blood Angel, Buck, Chris, Daniel, Doc the Undead, Dogo DeLune, Emil, Funzusu Ali, George, Jack, Jenny, John, Josh, Julian, Catfeathers, Crazyman 1772, Michael, Milo V3, Ms. Grumpy, Moku, Mozart D Minor, Noba, Other Michael, Perry, Puptier, Riafia, Ryan, Shexara, Cinna, Squirrel, Taryn, Thomas, Toast, Usuf Sama, Vortex, Zoltan, and Camo, but with a bunch of really weird letters. It still says Camo, but I don't know where you got those letters,
Camo
man.
and lead speak?
No, it's like...
So like Drago? He comes?
Maybe? Or, yeah, because, like, I thought I could recognize... What's the German... Cyrillic? It doesn't quite look like Cyrillic. I don't know what he's messing with over there, but that's Camo.
Cyrillic is Russian. Cyrillic is Russian.
Right. But that's because, you know, some of the letters they look almost Latin.
Your backwards ends that don't make an end sound.
Yep. All right. Done picking on Camo for today. That's a lie. I will pick on all
and
the
our
patrons.
Next question comes from Camo.
Yeah, it's what happens when you sign up to be a patron. I will lovingly and caringly tease and joke with you. And if I cross the line, please let me know. I'll be very, very sorry. Right. Well, when we last left time, we kind of left in a lurch.
Sure did.
Gisela had just brought 5 fellas from the bandit camp. They didn't stay around long to investigate, and the only indication that they gave to Gisela and Rilla was that they'd been kidnapped and not well treated. Meanwhile, Sheriff Isabel had come out to greet them and got them into the tavern and was trying to get everything settled down. Meanwhile, Legba and Baba Sera were off in the Temenos on a astral journey that we've been kind of picking up in vignettes as they just travel and move, and it's more about the journey before the destination. And yes, we're going to keep making that joke because it's good. They had just left Metropolis and were on their way to, I believe, Cloak Legba had said that he wanted to be challenged, and basically took routes to lead in rough directions. And so we pick up with Legba and Baba Sera, regardless of their appearance, and because they do not look human currently. Legba looks human, but a little bit more, you say, exaggerated, characterized?
Yeah,
more
definitely.
Yeah.
And his presence is 5 in the Temenos, so.
Right. And then...
or his power is 5.
Right. And Baba Sera looks very much like a wraith.
You can still see the lower half of her face, but yeah.
Sure. We pick up with the two of them having stepped foot off of whatever various conveyance, probably a boat, and finding themselves being pushed and shoved around beneath a very hot, very high desert sun, with miles of sand in front of them, salt sea behind them and rising edifications, temples, monuments, grand pillars, and the very classic pyramids of Giza in production.
Oh, shit.
And immediately are being grabbed hold of by enormous, like, these are not people in any way. Actually, they probably have a resemblance to the soldiers that you saw in Metropolis that had been marching and were faceless. These have a similar faceless, not really people kind of look. And where the others were like, we are nameless soldiers off to go do our duty, these ones have a far more menacing, cruel, tyrannical kind of appearance, just muscle bound, weapons in one hand, and grabbing arms with another. And Legba in the Temenos is pushing 7 feet? I think you said it was definitely like taller than normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
But these guys dwarf even you. And there's a definite sense of dissonance here where it's like, no, I should be taller than the average person, but these guys are bigger. Looking back at Baba Sera, the guy grabbing hold of her arm is similarly bigger than her, but not as big as the guy grabbing you. It is definitely a very personalized, terror, especially on a personal level for both of you, and are pushing you into what appears to be kind of a forced march situation of other unfortunates. And farther up along this line, you can see more guards, spears, swords, a very brutal processing of slaves. Of specific note to our mages, and depending on how much you two were paying attention in your lessons, go ahead and roll int plus occult if you would.
Sweet.
You can also see some various symbols that resonate here. That, like, it's not high speech, but they seem familiar. Like, I can't quite put my finger on it, or maybe you can. We'll see what you guys roll.
Would my voodoo specialty apply here or be relevant?
I do not think it would be relevant specifically for what I am asking for this thing. Whether or not you recognize certain symbols of exarchs.
So,
Greg showed up to play today.
Yeah, 5 successes.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I rolled with roach, and I only got 2.
2. But both of you are definitely able to recognize the symbols of the Chancellor. I almost said Mammon. It's the it's the Ministry of Mammon, but the Chancellor is the exarch. And yeah, is kind of lording over this place. And Chris is making a face. But no, because here we have the slaves at the other end, but there amongst the edifications, you see the 1% sitting there looking down, actively watching the enslavement of others in their lavish palaces, palm fronds, the whole shebang, right? And Theo, because you got your 5 successes and exceptional success, you get a condition, this being the astral. It doesn't necessarily have to be a purely mental social thing if you have a kind of more physical thing that you want to latch on to kind of represent the fact that, Temenos is basically 90% mind anyways.
I think I'll take a bonus to investigation.
Sure, that's fine. Yeah, we can definitely do that. In fact, we'll go so far. We'll say that you were informed about the area around here. So rather than a bonus to investigation, you have bump up in results. Right? I think, in the right condition.
Yeah, anything about gathering information of this area. Yeah.
Good stuff.
I don't... Is Mage Sight automatically up in the Temenos?
Nope.
No, okay.
Though technically, unless you guys
Probably
have
good
turned
to-
it off, you currently have it on. I guess I
Yeah.
technically should have penalized your roll, but this one I don't know that it would matter because you guys are currently mind linked with
We're
telepathy.
also perceiving a magic thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
It might be appropriate not to give this.
Right, that's why I was like, yeah.
At your discretion, of course, right?
But yeah, because you are also watching each other's souls, or at least, yeah, because you both have the death sight on, and yeah.
So, is there anyone here that has a soul?
Amongst, you definitely feel like, and at this point you've been around enough to recognize a bunch of these people that are being pushed forward in slavery are actors. I can't remember the exact term, but they're just the filler. There need to be people here, but they're not real. None of these people down at your level appear to be even real. Farther up in the gallery, watching you, maybe, but at this distance, it's hard to tell.
Okay. So I'll just quietly mumble to Legba, just set pieces down here, but I don't know about higher up. We may not be alone.
Yes. I think we should go with it. And you feel a flash. He's focusing on sensory impressions through telepathy, and you feel a flash of resigned commitment.
Okay. Yes, edifice is not edifications. Thank you. But yes, so you guys kind of step into the roles that you've been given by effectively falling into the trap, right? And are pushed forward towards processing. And as the Temenos works, a lot of this is speed of thought, and there's no long wait here other than a vague memory of it just taking forever beneath the sun.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a long temper wait, but it would feel like a long wait if I'm reading it correctly.
And are basically pushed forward in front of, well-fed, well-clothed, the tapered beard, all the very classic Egyptian noble aristocracy kind of vibes that you have, read about or heard about in stories. And they look at the two of you, each brought before a different processor, not at the same time, and skills. What are you trained in? You
We are
understand
scribes.
me?
Yes.
I can weave.
And yeah, you are grabbed and pulled in a different direction. You've got these diverting paths and stuff like that. And then did you reply, Ralph? Sorry, I didn't get you.
Yeah, I did. It's okay. I can say something else. I said we are scribes. But after Theo says weaving, Legba just says, you know what? It's fine. He doesn't need to have an elevated status in this context. And he says to him, I lift.
Do you lift?
Yes. And yeah, the immediate up and down look of, yep, manual labor, fine, that way. And you're shoved forward with, other, generally speaking, men of just, larger statures and stuff like that, or, broader shoulders, what have you. And time kind of flows forward. And again, this is a vignette, and we're not going to drag out time here because I know Cloak plans to come back here later.
Oh yeah.
If nothing else, just to let's set some things on fire and leave.
No,
actually, I think
there's a way to
Craig
get tyrannical individuals to be influenced by changes here, then yeah, he'd feel pretty satisfied about that.
Yep. But so you guys are kind of pushed forward and time flows, and for Legba, you're joined up with a bunch of other slaves, and you're dragging big blocks across wood slats. Well, not even slats, sleds across the sand. Just these enormous blocks that, as opposed to reality, are stamped with pyramids on the stones themselves as you drag them up to build a pyramid. This everything, and going back to your guys' roles, everything that you have read and been taught by the Diamond Order, it's like, oh yeah, this is a place that even if the exarchs aren't actively doing shit here, this is easily one of their strongholds within the Temenos. And while the two of you are laboring away, and like I said, we have this kind of time skip kind of flow working, Legba is just lashed, pulling, pushed to the brink of exhaustion, water thrown in his face. It's not in any way pleasant. But the entire time you're watching these other people, lording over you in one way or another. And a couple times you definitely catch sight of people, if not necessarily mages, that are kind of being wooed. Same thing for Baba Sera. Man, there's too many names in this game. I need to start killing people off. But yes, for Baba Sera, watching it and looking and weaving, and these ladies of quality and a status and stuff like that. Quality is the wrong term. Status, coming in and demanding garments and these all just opulent dresses and this, that, and the other, that you're now forced to weave away, these beautiful silks while sitting there in whatever, well, probably your wraithy cloak.
Would it be, or would it have conformed to the environment that we've allowed ourselves to be swept into?
Actually, that's kind of a fair question. In my mind, I think you would probably it's the cartoon, oh yeah, I'm still wearing my, cool G.I. Joe uniform, but because we're in this is a snow episode, it's a bunch of white and black instead of, red, white, and blue, kind of thing.
Yeah, in my head, I'm kind of thinking if she allows herself to be swept into the narrative that's happening in front of her, then she would undergo a transformation to match it.
Sure.
That's cool.
No, there's not actual snow right now. I'm just talking about never mind. That's where Twitch chat.
As an example.
Thank you.
I think Legba's invested so much in his, at first it seemed involuntary, but of course he realized later on that he was giving himself to something he had wanted, right? But so with Shadow Self and the maxed out Shadow name, I think there are lingering traces, and it's something he can't hide. Mm-hmm. So even though aspects of the native realm will influence how he appears, there's still the traits and the qualities.
For some reason, I imagine the top hat and the cane just never go away, even if pulling the rope with two hands, and whenever he stops, he just the cane is in his hand. Oh yes,
that's right, exactly. I forgot we're in the Temenos.
Excuse us while Ralph gets dressed.
Excuse me, everyone. I was naked before. I apologize.
YouTube, the podcast guys, you didn't miss anything. Relax. But
if you'd like to see,
wait,
come see the video.
Yeah, if you'd like to see, not like that.
But I mean, come on.
No Twitch chat. No.
Yeah, down. Where's the spray bottle?
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh, it has feather.
There we go.
But yes, Notably, this is the kind of like vibe and scenario that you guys are kind of walking through, and as Legba has pointed out, this is a journey for you guys. You're not necessarily here to do anything, but more to experience and see. For me, the big question ends up being, what do you guys do to possibly, quite literally, break free or to move on and get out of tyranny and basically head back to Purgatory Bluff?
Mm-hmm.
And it may end up being something, especially now that you've been separated, that you guys have to do on your own. Well, I guess you're linked with telepathy, so there is some ability to communicate.
And I anticipated that we would be in separate paths at some point so that we could share our experiences with each other and learn more together. Because the point of this is not for us to learn independently. The point of this is for us to share our insights in the process.
We are linked anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
because
exactly.
of telepathy. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm kind of thinking, in Theo's head, plagues were sort of a common thing at that time. Poor hygiene, terrible living conditions. So that might cause a lack of overseers or guards or something that would allow her to slip away at some point in time.
Sure. Is this something that you make happen? Miss, 3 dots of death?
It's something leading into the whole death thing. Right, so if there's a plague running through the slave camps, overseers won't want to be coming in there and that kind of stuff. So we give her an opportunity to slip away.
As simple as corpse mask. And just be like, died by plague, boss.
Yep.
You know what? Throw the whole batch out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But she's not in any particular rush. This is supposed to be a journey, so she's kind of waiting for cues from Legba on, so there's this sort of synchronous, coordinate their efforts and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. You get a flash from Legba, a sensory impression of, at first, frustration, and then peace, and then a single word. Or then the phrase, 3 words. Tyranny will endure. So for Legba, he's going to wait until it's the night, and he's going to work the whole day. Mm-hmm. As tired as he is, pushed to the brink. And he's going to slip away at night.
Still young, still fresh, still, just going to run into the desert and then, okay. Cool. And
I think Theo will actually just hitch a ride on a corpse wagon.
It's the most Moros thing. It's like, hey, that's my ride. There's no hearse here, so this will have to do. Cool. Yeah, because you've got the death spell that he can make you look dead. So yeah, cool. And so to not drag out the scene any, you guys make your way from tyranny, and then I imagine because of the different escape paths back to Purgatory Bluff on your own paths, where you guys can recap or more likely step out of the Temenos and please God have mercy on your storyteller.
Sure. Yeah,
and hear all the commotion happening outside. Well, actually, I guess you wouldn't hear the commotion happening outside. You're deep under the earth. But notably, when you guys do make your way back to Purgatory Bluff with, in my head, several days of travel, right, in mental experience, and it has been 5 hours.
Wow.
As you guys kind of shake things off, and it's like, I'm surprisingly thirsty and I definitely need a snack kind of
thing. Can I throw in a little bit of flavor?
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to take, as we're journeying back, assuming we link up, I want to take Legba on a bit of a Temenos journey through a few like prairie graveyards and burial grounds and stuff like that as we're making our way back towards Purgatory Bluff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just to store that away for something to talk about later.
Fantastic.
which specifically, that way we can get caught back up with Isabel and Gisela. You guys emerge out of the Temenos with a lot of stuff going on. Get lunch, Legba, I don't know if you head back to the mines to check in on things, but one way or another, you guys are getting caught up and probably seeing the, Purgatory Bluff is a small town, so when there's 10 people all outside, out near the tavern, you guys can notice. It's like, okay, hang on, what's going on over there? Actually, I guess I should step back one thing to Sheriff Isabel. Realizing and quite quickly hearing about, hey, there were bandits ways. Do you set off any kind of alarm, like ring the church bells or anything like that? Because I just realized there's probably be some form of, hey, everybody pay attention, it's classically the church bell. Or is Sheriff Isabel still in kind of like, hang on, let me find out what's going on first?
Because I don't find out until I get down to meet up with Gisela and Rilla, right? So at that point, I'd probably have someone run and
and
go tell Warner, or go tell Enright, go tell the church to ring the bells for a little bit, get everyone's attention, and then if we need to round up a good old fashioned posse.
Yeah, or if nothing else, everybody who's got a rifle, we might need to start climbing up on some rooftops.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know about running up a posse to go fight these guys, because there's lots of them, and they're well armed.
How many were there?
A lot?
Yeah, like 40 to 60.
Oh yeah, it's a few too many for me.
Yeah, no.
I appreciate that was too many for you.
On watch.
You can see them like, how many do you count? Oh, not more than 10, I think. Even 20 for me. Yeah.
I think we'll have some ideas once we're all able to talk about it.
While we are coming back to town with these guys, it's like a long trip, right? I wanted to be examining them with mage sight, because I'm concerned that they're not quite mundane humans.
Okay. Sure. Definitely
something about this whole scenario is hinky.
Right. That is, after all, what the whole purpose of your thing was. So looking over the 5 friends that you've got, who, after, as you guys are talking, Samuel, Adam, Theo, Marcos, and Francisco. Yes, there is another Theo. I ain't changing it. But yes, hinky, not kinky, y'all. Twitch chat today. So the 5 of them are ordinary humans as far as you can see. Now you need I'm trying to remember everybody's. Yeah, okay, you don't have death. Yeah, so a little bit of death would be necessary to get an idea of their soul marks. Actually, hang on, does Rilla do that? I really need to move Rilla's character sheet into Roll20. Save myself.
This dog was standing at the front door barking. She just went upstairs to go bark in the bedroom upstairs.
Ghosts.
Oh, man.
It's gotta be ghosts. She does have death. So a little like quiet whisper of, she recognizes they're not like us. But I think considering her limited experience with stuff, the idea of other supernaturals, wouldn't know what to look for or anything like that.
I mean, at this point, I'm fully in the mindset of believing that whatever, literally anything could be true. Witches are true.
Yeah, all the fiction, all the fairy books,
all the fairy tale things. Why not? I've looked at evil fairy moths eating a timeline.
I've seen some shit. Listen, sure. So that does mean then that for Legba and Baba Sera, you guys are hearing, the church bells ring, and it's definitely like, nope, that's far more than, counting out the hour. And so, what is that? And the 2 of you head off I imagine, back to town. Catherine giving you the like concerned look of, what is it, and probably getting the "I'll report back" kind of thing.
Yeah, because we were in the workshop, right? Yeah.
You're down in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Cool.
Actually, I think Theo would check in with Catherine and say, "Should I go check?"
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely like, yeah, you go find out. I'm out here in the farms. I know how to handle a shotgun, and Valosia's here with her, so it's a safe place. And there's a bunch of other, grumpy territorial farmers out this way too. So, but yeah, so for the two of you heading back, there's definitely some other farmers who are curious, and you can see, a couple folks who are up on a horse and riding up. Couple others yell at Widow Stokes to what's going on up that way.
Well, we'll find out and let you know.
Yep. And
so let's set a good pace back.
Yes, let's.
Yep. So we pick up with at this point now the sheriff and these couple folks, Rilla and Gisela, who are involved just because they are mundanely involved, and then it'd just be probably Warner eventually coming down. At this point now, like Arcelia has gotten them like some water, probably all 5 of them, plus Gisela and Rilla, some water and like a little bit of food just to like settle, as they've had dug into some dried rations, hardtack biscuit type things that are just not great. Here's some actual real food that was back there cooking. They are famished and starving. And the immediate story that kind of spills out of their lips for Sheriff Isabel is that they were part of a work camp down towards Mexico, and these guys had basically busted in as a raid on a supply camp, on a maybe even a caravan, and stuff had been taken, run off. They initially thought they were being attacked by the Mexican army, but they were nothing at all like real army, I think would be the term that they use.
All right. So, is there like a crowd around us?
At this point, I imagine that you have basically told folks to, stay outside. So I think inside you've got probably Madame Robert, because there's no way you're kicking her out of the tavern. Or Celia, right, who was there. Some of the staff, Gisela, Rilla, these 5, and then shortly arriving, because once the bells ring, Warner's coming, right, along with Ike.
Well, gentlemen, I'm sorry that you have not arrived to our little town under more auspicious circumstances. But if there's anything y'all can tell us you think might be helpful, any more you haven't said already, now might be the time to talk about that before things start to get a little crazy. Because, well, regardless of how this whole afternoon plays out, whether those bandits come over this way, y'all about to be popular gentlemen.
It's true.
Ain't too much, not too much news in a small town like this.
Really gives a big smile. She's like, yeah, it doesn't go away for a long time either. But Samuel, who more or less has been the guy who's been doing a lot of the talking with other folks interjecting here and there, says, as far as they could tell, well, as far as we could tell, they're just a bunch of really successful bandits. I mean, once we were captured, kidnapped, yeah, whatever. Yeah, they went on more raids and hit other places and swung in, and most of the time they came back no wounded, nobody hurt. They don't even have to fire a shot. It's downright spooky.
Do you know why they captured you? Were they going to sell you?
That was our expectation. One of the guys, Marcos, kind of is like, they, no other reason to take us. They're not going to ransom us back to the army. Army pays us, 2 pence a day plus meals. We're not worth much to the army. And then, not like any of us have families. Not like we were picked out. We were just grabbed.
How long ago were you captured?
And a little kind of conversation back and forth. Days blend, for them, and said, well, hang on. And they start to work backwards. They're like, so it's been, 6-7 days since... Hang on. I gotta get my notes together.
But a matter of like days.
Oh no,
a week or so?
Definitely pushing into months. So it's been 6-7 days since they took Aaron away. Right. Before Aaron, it was who was that guy? Mason, right? And before him, he was the big guy who wouldn't ever shut up about his knees. Tyler.
So there were more of you initially.
Oh, yeah, the 5 of us were all taken together, but when we got there were others.
You know what you said when they took them?
Oh,
Which
yeah, I guess it's when they were selling them off or something like that. Because we were all in the big old cage, and then they'd come in and grab one of us and take them off, and we didn't see them anymore.
Trying to figure out, do we know about vampires?
You can do an intellect plus occult roll.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna see that because I don't think Dracula's been published yet.
Well, but Dracula was just a story based on legends.
1897. Yeah, but I think we've heard of vampires.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
The notion.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's with a 1 success, Gisela knows about vampires, especially because you talk about like Transylvania, Vlad the Impaler. Some of that stuff is Eastern European. That's stuff that somebody from Germany may have actually heard of. But yeah, we don't have Bram Stoker's Dracula published yet, so it's not the popular myth that it does eventually become. And none of this quite matches up with that necessarily, in the fact that they're taking 1 or 2 people every week or 2 weeks.
Do they move around at night or during? I mean, they move around during the day. They can't be vampires.
Yeah. I will say, probably a little bit of conversation has happened. This is when Warner probably arrives. Legba, Cloak, and the Widow Stokes arrive, crossing the bridge, and see folks kind of milling around, and already stuff has started to spread away from the front door. There's still a lot of conversation. People aren't like trying to lean in or anything like that. Especially as Warner comes in and he's got a couple of his troubleshooters with him because, I mean, the bell rings, it's trouble. Mm-hmm. You bring the troubleshooters, quite literally. And they say, all right, everybody go home. Warner will let everybody know what's going on. When we find out what's going on, as Warner and Ike come in and immediately does the appraisal of the room. It's like, okay, Madame Robert's here. Yeah, expected. Sheriff Isabel. Okay. And so that's kind of the view that Cloak and Theo have as they arrive into town.
So Isabel has things under control?
You have no idea. All you're seeing is the milling people.
Okay, yeah, so we'll...
Yeah, just walk up.
Yep.
See what's going on.
But not to intercede, but be available as a resource and make sure Isabel knows we're there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, for the two of you, the socially acceptable side is to wander around. So, hey, what's happening? There's some of the other farmers that had ridden in on horses, and kind of see, Widow Stokes and kind of fill her in on what they've kind of heard, which is, as they've said, Gisela and Rilla found a bunch of stray men wandering around. There's some jokes about the fact that the two single women went out hunting and came back with 5 men. And there's a lot of elbows from the mothers in the crowd, but yeah,
a very successful hunt.
Yep. But yeah, for the most part, that's it. And of course, there's the like, oh hey, nudge. They looked really rough. Somebody said something about they'd been kidnapped, so you get the initial scuttlebutt gossip version as stuff is already beginning to telephone and twist and reshape. And talking about making yourselves available and known and like, oh yeah, we're here. Is there something specific you do besides like, we're going to walk by the windows and like stand in front of it for a second?
No, just like a raise a hand until we make eye contact and just let her know that we're around, I think.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, she's in charge.
Just take note of it.
Mm-hmm.
But Enright has come inside the building, right? Okay.
Yeah, Warner comes in, heads towards you and the men. Ike kind of, makes his way over to the bar and asks Arcelia to get him a drink.
Sounds about right. Mr. Enright. Sorry to disturb your day.
It's all right. What's going on?
Well, Gisela and Rilla here were out on a hunting trip, and well, they've got quite a tale they're spinning. But they appear to have found a sort of refugee party escaping from a bandit camp.
Yeah, the men immediately recognizing now, a masculine town leader, like stand up and shake hands.
The man in charge.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
They're in for an education.
Notice I didn't get that.
Yep. But shake hands with Warner. Now, to Warner's credit, he immediately defers to Sheriff Isabel and says, Sheriff, are we in danger?
From the sounds of it, they're a sizable group. If they decide to come this way, I think it's best if we have everybody on the lookout. We'll send some folks back out to the farms, let them all know to be prepared. But I don't know. We don't exactly have a.
We don't have a militia.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I go out and find. I think I saw Widow Stokes when I was coming in. Go get up with her and get the farmers at least informed and maybe organized. Maybe we need to bring everybody in, cross the bridge. And Ike is over here.
No, they're not going to want to do that.
No, they're not. But Ike, finishes his drink and kind of looks, and Widow Stokes turns the glass out, walks out. Hey, listen, Craig put this aspiration down, damn it.
Mm-hmm.
And Ike, heads out the very. I'm trying to remember. Did we determine that this actually the tavern actually has a door? It's not the swinging saloon. Yeah, okay. And heads out to go find the Widow Stokes, or he's going to take his time about doing it, hoping that maybe she goes away. Go ahead, Chris, because that's where we're staying for the minute.
Yeah, just like chatting with Enright, like, sir, I mean, we could take a few of your boys. I could ride out with them, scout the area, but don't know if that would just bring more attention to us. These fellas were escaping from the camp, and by Isabel and Rilla's accounts, had no idea that a town was nearby. Is that about right, gentlemen?
Yeah, the 5 of them, nodding for the 2 of them are still, their faces just in a plate. And I'll for a gimme for Gisela, probably for Isabel too, but Gisela was out there. You guys made very obvious tracks through your path. Like it's a very easy path to follow if they follow. So that's the bigger question. But
yeah, Isabel would definitely have that thought too. There's something to be said about. I doubt the group of these 7 plus a horse left a very hard to follow trail back to town. But I don't know. This is kind of a thing we need to decide between you and I what we're going to do, how we're going to handle protecting the town. I don't much like my odds of, less than a dozen of us riding out there and drawing attention and getting caught unawares. But we think that's for the best.
Yeah. I mean, we got quite a few good shots. Man, what I would do for a castle wall right now.
Just haven't been built out here yet.
So Warner kind of starts to pace, and it's a very exaggerated. This is what a man does now. I need to pace. Yes, a little twist of the mustache. Yeah. It says, well, yeah, let's not draw any attention to ourselves, because maybe they just won't care about y'all. Looking at the 5 men who shrug, but yeah, let's maybe we send some of the boys out on horses out a ways. Keep lookout. He's talking about not actual boys, talking about some of his troubleshooters. Yeah. And then they can ride back if they see anybody. At least to start. Maybe we could. Yeah, that's what we need. We need lookouts with bonfires, and you can see him just over engineering this whole alarm system.
Fires might be a bit of an obvious thing there, sir. Out on the prairie.
Oh yeah, that's probably right. Yeah, okay.
So Drew, can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Has Cloak's first attainment been imposed upon him at this point?
Have you spent the XP?
I have. Excellent. Then he can hear what's happening inside.
Oh, yes.
So...
Yeah. You're good.
So then, upon hearing the notion of people riding out of the borders of the town, Cloak leans to Theo and says, because there are people in earshot. Madame Stokes, do you remember what I accomplished when Senora Pilar and I returned from London? We do have protection here. And I think a number of people are planning on leaving that protection. If there's a way you can get them not to do that, either through communications with Senor Pilar or some other means, I think that would be good for everyone's welfare.
And Theo's fairly stoic about that kind of stuff, so she just takes a moment to consider. I don't disagree with you, but it might be useful to have scouts with eyes out in the field to have a look.
I think you have one that is not at risk of death.
True.
Unless you have released that servitor.
That's a difficult conversation to have, but I'll see what I can do. So Theo will head into the tavern.
Bump into Ike on the
Yeah,
way, like both
that's
going
exactly
through the
what
door.
I was thinking. Yeah, because Ike, stalls a little bit, and then eventually is like, okay, well, I have finished my drink. All right, heads out, and just because this is a movie after all. Yeah, nearly runs into Widow Stokes, and does a decent little not courtly, but an appropriate bad. Widow Stokes, ma'am, my father wants me to talk with you about getting the farmers organized.
You have then.
No, I think we need to actually hash something out, ma'am.
What exactly did you have in mind? Once we're done here, I'm planning on writing out and letting folks know what's going on.
Oh, good. Yeah. Okay. So let me give you the short story of it. Gisela and Rilla found 5 men out on the prairie on a hunting trip, and seems those 5 men have been kidnapped by a bunch of bandits, and there's concern that those bandits may be headed this way. So my father wants us to kind of get the farmers alerted, maybe bring them into town, protect their
Where would you house all those families in town?
Well, the church is pretty large, and we got 2 of them. There's also the mines if we really need to get desperate, but I think Sheriff Isabel and my father are organizing and figuring out a defensive plan. The big concern right now is having a bunch of folks out across the river where they might be vulnerable to banditry. Especially if these people are depraved enough to kidnap people.
Well, I'll let them know that's an option. How's that sound?
See him actually think, because he's like, is that enough? And you can see him weighing like personal responsibility versus does he give a fuck, and goes, all right, yeah, let them know. I guess it is their choice that they can come back towards where we're going to be set up. It sounds like my father's going to bring in some of the cowboys and some of his shooters, and we'll set up some kind of defense.
Are they planning on sending somebody out to have a look?
I think that's what I heard them discussing when I stepped out.
All right. So once I'm done here, I'll head out to the farms and pass the word. Let folks know they can take shelter in town if they want. They're pretty independent-minded folk. They may just want to hunker down where they are.
Well, hope that works for him. He turns around and heads back into the tavern. I imagine you are right behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Warner kind of looking at you, Ike, and kind of nods and then sees you step in and, is there... And you can see he's very confused. It's like, this is not how I had planned it. Ike was going to go out, and then Widow Stokes was going out to the farms, but now Widow Stokes is coming into the tavern. Very confused Warner face.
Would it be a wits and subterfuge to try and have an open conversation, but a hidden message for Isabel.
Ooh,
that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Probably manipulation.
It'll also be a role on her part to understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah, depending on how well we get. Yeah, I think it is manipulation plus subterfuge. To have a subtext to the conversation, and depending, if you get over 2 successes, then Isabel just picks it up, no problem. If not, Isabel may need to wits plus composure, I think, to spot what's going on.
Just the one.
Hey, wits composure is my best stat.
I do know that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I wanted to be able to notice things and have willpower.
Mhm.
I don't need to make a spell. Come on.
3 successes.
3 successes.
Yeah, so no problem. So go ahead, Craig, with your overt conversation, and then what's the subtext there?
So the overt conversation is that she's going to go out and let the folks know, but also see if they've noticed anything. And as part of that subtext, like, she can have her companion do a scouting mission to see if these folks are headed this way, or either as scouts or in addition to whatever she might be sending out.
Gotcha. Cool. And so you having the wolf is a known thing for the coven?
I don't know that she could keep it hidden.
So.
Can you talk to it?
It is a retainer. So it's not like it's a wolf and it's now an animal. It's an animated body in this case, and in the form of a wolf. So
yeah, it was intended to be a guard for the farm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
but it's a tied off spell, quicken corpse, right?
Yeah. Now, it's not like a familiar, so there's no little shared expressions or anything like that. It's just a retainer, and it's good at following your orders. So.
Yeah, that's what confused me. It can do things you tell it to, but can it talk to you to communicate what it found?
No. So how it's going to communicate is going to be a thing that Bob Sera is going to have to figure out on the way over.
Put some yes or no dots on the ground and have it step on them.
Left paw, right paw, yes, no. But yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have an intelligence.
Yeah.
At all. So it can't. It's not going to be able to find out information.
It's like all I'm thinking is the presence or absence of, a bunch of people on horseback.
Right. And notably, they're not suited for combat, and can understand simple 1 or 2 word commands, nothing more. So that is going to be kind of your limit.
Yeah, I thought when you were saying companion, you meant Noel.
No.
That is another option.
Yeah.
But
because he's
in Twilight.
Talk to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So regardless, the subtext is that Theo can send somebody out to do a scouting thing.
All right. Isabel also could cover that.
What's that?
Very true.
Yep. Isabel also has spirits, so yeah.
And Theo's just making the offer.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Okay. So if you want to look after it, that's totally fine too. You can actually have like a spirit of hunting, like a wolf spirit out, go and hunt them down.
A spirit of wind.
Mm-hmm.
Little blue ribbons. Anyways.
Keeps happening.
It keeps happening. It's like I'm reading the book again.
Exactly. Yeah, Isabel's like, all right, Mr. Enright, let's get a couple of your boys. We'll just ride out just a little bit. I'll go with them. You can stay here between you and Madame Robert and shit.
Widow Stokes.
No, because she's leaving.
Oh,
the fucking general store guy.
Anastasio.
Anastasio. Between the 3 of y'all, everybody looks up. At the very least, respects y'all, if not, looks up to you as part of the leadership of the town at this point. Keep everybody calm. I'll say a few words outside and assure everybody everything's going to be fine. We'll ride out there just for the little bit of the afternoon. Just take a gander, see if we can. I don't want us going all the way out there to actually find them, but keeping an eye out's just a fine thing to do.
Right. And as you guys are starting to get organized, the five guys are kind of looking back and forth, and they're like, "You're just a sleepy little town. What are you guys all so worried about?" I mean,
we're just a sleepy little town.
Well,
full of people.
Well, sure, but I mean, they don't want people. They're after riches and money and stuff like that.
Rilla,
and yet they grabbed you.
Oh yeah,
Gisela and Rilla told y'all that this is a silver mine town, right?
Yeah, it's a sleepy little town built on a silver mine.
they go, "No, you mentioned a mine." It's like, on the plus side, they probably don't know that you're here, but if they find out that there's silver over this way, then there might be a problem.
There's only silver for like 6 more months, but shh.
Well, there's a bunch of stuff up in boxes and So, cool. Yeah. So you guys kind of, separate. Warner goes out with Isabel, and there's some talk out to the townsfolk, which is basically, hey, everybody go home. I think Warner and feel free to out of character countermand this, but it's like, hey, if any of the men, anybody who's a good shot's got a rifle, kind of report in so we can get an idea of who all is carrying. Answer everybody. Baba Sera, Widow Stokes
I'm joining them.
You're joining who?
The people with guns.
The
Gotcha.
Makeshift militia.
Sure. And Widow Stokes is headed out across the river to go basically inform the farmers, especially a couple of the farmers who have already ridden up. They're hearing some of this firsthand, and then catching sight of the face that stands out in the crowd of white folks. Warner kind of notices Cloak and points out, "Oh yes, the miners. We have a bunch of men up that way who might not necessarily have guns, because that is one of his rules. Miners aren't allowed guns. Gosh, I couldn't imagine why. But we'll need to bring them down." And then actually there's he has a conversation of, well, if worst comes to worst, we could pull back into the mines.
There are safe places for everyone there.
Right. And, and you guys out of character know supernal being entropy is gone.
Oh yeah, it's gone.
Right. So it's, it's a hole, it's a hole in the wall, but you can't set fire to it. With that, you guys have a little dispersion of everybody through to different places. So yeah, Warner tells the 2 guys that came down with him, all right, go round up everybody. I don't care. Wake them up. Throw some coffee down their throats and get them down here. Ike, you go make sure everybody gets down here. Ike heads off with the 2 troubleshooters. And after the little immediate conversation, there's the townsfolk heading back home. Mothers, grabbing up kids and like acting as if, the barbarians are at the walls already. Men start showing up with rifles, and, some of them with a pair or 3 of rifles. Excuse me. Sorry. We'll do.
Isabel spends a bit of time talking and organizing with people, and like, look, don't. I know this seems like a lot, but chances are nothing's going to happen. We're tucked away up in here. If they're riding out from the camp, they're not likely to stray too close to the river, which would be the best way to find us.
Well, because the other big thing is the way they're coming, they'll be basically walking over your guys' hallow, and that's, while the hallow itself is in no way special or fortified or anything, but that's a wide open space, and you all would have the high ground, and we all know how important that is, and cover. So it's a not a great place, even if they have horses, to come cavalry charging towards you all. So,
and a lot of that is what Isabel's trying to, not that she has like warfare, like a warfare sort of mind,
but she has some banditry experience. Am I just imagining that? No, she was
a bandit. She was a cowboy.
Right, yeah, sorry. I was like, wait, no, not a bandit at all. Cowboy.
No, I didn't do a bandit. Yeah. I'm a good person. Yes. So after that, and like, I can roll something if you want, but more or less it's just trying to make sure that everyone's keeping the right idea about what's happening, that we're not like gearing up for war. It's just, hey, just in case.
That was actually my next step, was -3 roll, presence plus expression or persuasion to try and basically get everybody calmed and settled. Notably, and before you actually roll, if anybody else in the coven here is doing anything either within the crowd or, just even standing up and nodding, is anybody else basically helping on crowd management?
Yeah, this is finally an opportunity for Cloak to lean into his new virtue.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Sheriff Isabel comes out and is trying to calm people down, and there's like a dispensation of tasks and stuff like that, and people are feeling a little restless and uncertain, Cloak stands up on like a little, post or something like that and addresses everyone and says, "Good people, you are in safe hands," and motions to Isabel and says, "We have entrusted our safety to Senor Pilar dutifully for months, and she has delivered to the utmost of her ability.
Cool.
And let us focus on that for now, and I'm sure that you all be able to sleep restfully tonight without anything untoward happening to you during the day."
Sure. And roll a presence plus probably expression, but persuasion.
Sweet. Yeah. Give me that expression.
And get some bonus die there.
Excellent. Presence expression. All right. How many bonus dice?
No. Your bonus.
For her. Yeah, and assistance. Excellent.
That's
Great. I'm glad it was a teamwork roll. That's what I wanted it to be. Cool. You got 2.
So -1 all day.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's the other way to do it. Just mechanically. What is that? Yeah, that's fine.
What?
I was trying to think if +2 dice counteracts a -2, but yeah, of course it does.
Why would it not?
Yeah, trust me. I am elsewhere in my math.
All right. You said presence?
Yeah, I imagine presence plus persuasion or expression.
Sense.
Oh. Yeah, so
I'm not good at presence.
Did you want
good
to
at manipulate?
Did you want to take a dramatic failure?
No.
Okay.
It's true. It has been a while since we
send the whole town into a panic.
Well, the crowd doesn't devolve into a panic, but there is definitely a we're not so sure about this. Yeah, she's a great sheriff in investigating crime, but this is the first time we've dealt with bandits.
You see, I told you should have had a public execution at least once. Do a quick draw in the middle of the street, and then people would respect you.
Give me 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's an unease. Nobody's like screaming and panic and anything like that. But yeah, as people are it's like and that's where you get the mothers hefting both children under arms and yeah.
I think because like after Isabel finished talking, she then like goes to leave, and I think it's just a little uneasiness like in her wake after she's left, right? Like to her face is like, yeah, no problem, this is gonna be fine. But she runs up the hill to go get Jose the Horse.
Yep. Cool. Theo is doing a ghost summons.
I have it queued up, but I want to have a talk with Noel first.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. So are you going to the farms first, or are you going to suddenly deviate and head over to the graveyard?
I'm walking to the graveyard, and while I'm heading to the graveyard, I'm becoming Baba Sera.
Okay. I like that. Okay. Yeah, there's definitely some yes, and Widow Stokes is going to get people organized. And she leads towards the graveyard.
The opposite direction.
It's the opposite direction, and also
just but she's kind of a weird.
That's
one.
exactly. I was she's weird already. She's Romani. She lives over there in the farm, and she still does readings for people occasionally. Some of the miners who've been around for a while still go and hang on, I'm thinking about doing this thing or whatever, and I gotta go check with my financial advisor, Madame Stokes, because that I think is where Madame Stokes, yeah. But yeah, there's definitely a way. Hey, she's going to the graveyard. That's not foreboding at all.
Have to make some room
for them. Call an ambulance. Yeah. And then just to double check, and Giza, you were basically heading home, getting the rifle, and coming back out and be like, "I'm gonna shoot something."
I already had the rifle.
Oh, that's true.
We were going hunting.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I was going to basically run and tell family what I'm doing, get mom, get the kids, y'all settle up here, and then I'm going back out.
You sure you want to tell your mom what you're doing?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
She's going to know what's happening.
Right. Yeah, she's in the town.
Yeah, and notably, while this has all been going on, Warner has also sent word up to the mines, you know what? We can stop working. We got some other shit to do. And so it's kind of sent word, and basically, because there are some miners besides, Mr. Bauer, who also have family in town or have family over in the farms. And it's okay, they would be very, very pissed if they were just working through a shift and this stuff was going on and they find out later. Now let's just shut everything down, get stuff organized. And a lot of them had heard the church bells already and stuff like that. So Isabel goes up to get the horse. Cloak was heading up to meet up with the Maroons. Okay.
Yeah, go and talk to them. And on the way, he's going to hang out with the Maroons while he's there.
Right.
This is an opportunity for him to use his second attainment for the first time. And all of a sudden, Isabel receives a ping and request for contact that kind of feels like the telepathy she's experienced before. And there's a message hidden in it. Basically can we talk?
And it is two-way telepathy.
Yep.
Weirdly, it doesn't. Well, no, it would set off your peripheral mage side.
Yeah, attainments do. Legacy attainments do.
How may I help you, Legba?
I am at your disposal for the duration of this mission, and I request nothing specific other than prompt direction in the event that you're in need of my assistance. Trust you completely.
Sure. Eyes and ears in town while I'm out is good. And an anchor point should I find myself in trouble.
What would you like that anchor point to be? The tavern?
You mostly was what I was thinking.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
You was what I was thinking.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You might be.
I can be. I'll retain this contact.
Out of character, reach out and grab me.
Oh, no, I know what you meant.
Yeah,
I know what you meant. Yeah, sympathetic cast, get you out of there. Yeah, totally. Yeah. That's exactly what's going to happen. There's going to be a co-location. So.
Cool. So we get the spooky Baba Sera stepping through the iron gates of the graveyard, which admittedly is not big tall gates. It's more of a low little pony gate kind of thing.
Little squeaky fence.
Yes, I think we've moved beyond squeaky fence, considering how much Baba Sera has been like trying to take care of the graveyard.
It's nice.
And yeah, basically the Geist and Noel Hill, kind of. Well, because I imagine you turn your bait sight on when you arrive, kind of look over, see you, and it's like there's a definite. It's not Sunday.
And I'll walk up to Noel. And
did you spend the mana to be able to communicate?
Yes.
Sure.
I would like to ask your assistance with something.
Well, I mean, it's been a while, but last time you asked for my assistance, it was not bad. It was uneventful, and I got to see some place besides this graveyard, so probably...
So there's a group of, what you call them, bandits? A group of bad folks that were snatching people and stealing things, camped.
He nods. Bandits.
We just want to make sure they're not coming towards town. Would you allow me to engage your services to scout out and see where they are and what they're doing?
Like, he puts on this expression of, this is interesting. This is novel. Well, actually, no. Hang on. No, he doesn't do that. But he kind of looks, and it's a very, like, why should I care?
Because your parents are in a farm on the other side of the river.
Now we're talking. He nods and he goes,
if that's not sufficient, I'd be prepared to bargain.
I don't really think there's much that you have that I would care for unless you happen to know where my wife and children are. But no, for my parents, if nothing else.
Mental note, okay.
Yeah. Can you send me there, or am I going to have to walk?
I think you'll find if you put your mind to it, you can move.
Oh, he's well aware of how fast he is.
Yeah, no, I think you'll have to cover the distance yourself. Because I don't know exactly where they are.
And call you a mage. All right. Spits in his hand, and it is like this. It's not spit. It's like very clearly gooey ectoplasm. And puts his hand out.
Right.
You can just go ahead and. Well, actually, I gotta spend some paradox here. Potentially
overreaching by 3.
Mm-hmm.
Instant cast, advanced duration, and the complex command.
Okay, and then are you spending mana or using your dedicated magical tool?
I do not have my dedicated magical tool with me. Walking around with a bone cane is a little too obvious. So I'm going to spend a couple of mana.
Okay, so bumping it down to 1 die. Paradox! Not that it really matters, it's still contained.
Oh, man.
Well, don't I get to roll against it?
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Cool.
There we go.
7 dice, 1 success. All right.
Bit of headache, twitch of the right eye.
A little bit of headache. And then rolling 10 dice.
Now I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about I'm using my perfected bone dagger as a rod.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's perfected bone, does it give me an extra bonus, or does it give me the...
It gives you 8 again.
9 again.
Is it just 9?
I think it's 9 again on spells from that path.
Okay.
So that'll take it down by 1, so it'll be 9 dice.
Wait. Oh, because you did the Yantra bonus wrong.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
Right. So I get 2 from Chardonnay and 1 from Cabal Theme. Or would the Cabal Theme apply? This is protecting the town, is kind of what we're...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cabal Theme definitely applies.
Cool. Oh, yes!
All right.
Cool. A note, specifically because you are... you didn't include any penalties for potency. But because this is something that he is on board with, he is not he's not going to withstand.
That's why I asked him in the first
right, and
place,
that's cool. I just wanted to be very above board on what was going on there. So
Sure.
I'm trying to remember. Go summons is duration. So do you want to add additional to the primary factor there? Well, actually, I guess it's already. You've already got 3 dots, so it's all.
Yeah, and I paid
weak.
for advanced duration,
Yeah,
so
it's already a
he's
week,
got-
anyways. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I guess in that case, a condition on him or on you.
Or I can take the mana back.
Oh, yes, you could do that.
Mhm.
+1.
How much mana did you spend?
Spent 2.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'll take the mana back.
That literally pays for the spell cast plus your conversation.
Mhm.
Sure. All right. And then, of course, Arcane Beat. And Willpower. So,
Yes.
cool. And just with that, he doesn't move anywhere because he's already here, but there's just this slight invigoration to him and just this sense of being able to go. Now, notably, creates the open condition. No, wait, hang on. Where am I at? Yeah, summon a ghost, complex command. All right, so did you also take the reach for creating the open condition?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to roll one more paradox, just in case this actually is going to matter about how much bashing. Well, actually, no, it will not matter in the amount of time. Well, actually, it may matter depending on. Oh, shoot. How to do this? Because you needed one more, so that way he can actually go and travel.
Okay.
But you've already rolled wisdom,
So roll one more paradox.
and then you.
Yeah, what
roll
he's saying is if
wisdom
he
again?
rolls it and he succeeds,
No, because I've
No.
already rolled my wisdom. I got 1 success. So if you get a success, then the paradox
It's a
happens.
condition.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure we were all on board with that.
yes.
Oh.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
Ouch.
Shit.
Yeah, that
Okay.
hurts. Okay.
10 and a 9.
So that is 3 paradox on 2 overreach.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah, you cut out one of them, so it's still 2.
All right. General spell conditions.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Paradox. All right. So. Loop. Nimbus, Imago, or Backlash? Yeah. Considering what you are trying to do here and calling forth this spirit ghost
Mm-hmm.
to do your will, something else kind of trickles into the spell, and you are stricken with abyssal backlash. So the next time the mage casts a spell that risks paradox, add dice to the paradox pool equal to the number of successes earned on the paradox roll, so 3.
Damn.
This is resolved if you fully contain a paradox, you scour it, or you allow it to lapse. And bear in mind, of course, yeah.
So that's +2 on my next spellcast?
3. Technically,
That triggers. If you would trigger paradox, Drew adds 3 extra to the pool.
Right. Yeah, but as we were saying, Noel kind of looks a little bit invigorated, a little bit more here. I imagine you tell him to you put him in the twilight form manifestation. There's no reason to actually make him materialize because
That's right.
you want him to
You just
be
need to be able
visible.
to see. Yep, exactly.
Right. And point him off in a vague direction.
Yeah, I got the directions where they went from Isabel. So.
Yep. Yeah, it's a general direction, is because even for Gisela and Rilla is that way-ish.
Sure.
Um,
Then I'm going to gird my loins and start running towards the farm.
sure. Tuck that dress up in the belt. Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, and hoof it. Cool.
Speaking of hoofing it,
You cut out there, what?
I said, speaking of hoofing it,
Yeah.
I'm going to cast a
yeah.
spell on both me and Jose.
I was
going to
ask. I was
Yes.
looking at that. I was like, wait a second.
I think
That's
you missed a syllable there. Or say.
We also need to roll the active hubris I did for
Thank you.
very
Yes.
obviously magicking at these guys.
Yes, if you would go ahead and do that, please. It is definitely
I think it's
the
the
3.
three.
Mhm.
It's just spell roll 3, right? It's the easy way.
Yep.
One
Hey.
success. Does that mean I won?
Yes.
Okay.
Finally.
You win. You're good.
Ash is free of
The
the
first one you've ever passed.
That might be the first one I've
It
ever
is.
succeeded
It
on.
is.
Oh my
Yes.
god.
Straight up it
Yes.
is.
So arcane
Everyone
beat
cheer
there.
for her.
Don't lose
Claps in
wisdom.
chat.
Yay, arcane beat.
I was fully aware of what I did.
And was okay with it.
I was okay with it because it was to save their lives.
Rationalized it.
All right. So 6 reaches going into duration,
Instant. Duration. Scale. Because a horse is not size 5.
Very true.
Armor.
Okay.
And double healing per potency.
Okay.
Which is +2. So 6 all day. I am using my shadow name and the Cabal theme and my soul stone.
Oh, okay. Cool. And then overreaching by.
So I do not have my dedicated magical tool for this. So it's 5 straight up.
Cool. And any mana?
Nope.
Okay. 1 success.
Come on! I've got y'all at home. I've got an aspiration that says do a big paradox. I've been trying. I've been actively trying.
Can you choose not to roll your wisdom?
No.
I mean, technically.
You could. You release it.
Yeah, you could release it as well.
If you wanted
but-
to just release the paradox, you could all the time. You could pollute all over the place.
Right. But I think.
Yeah, but it
I
still
think,
won't be that big.
Yeah.
Need to be big.
Oh, that's right. It wouldn't be big. You want to summon a Golmoth.
But
That's what you want.
I don't
think I want to go that far. I'm just saying. Yeah. Don't put words in my mouth.
All right.
My whole thing with the releasing a paradox rule is that it penalizes your spellcast.
Why would you ever do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's no good. I know. I'm with you.
I think it should add to your spellcast.
To make it more appealing
because
as
the
an
abyss
actual
wants
attempt.
it to succeed at that point.
Sounding like a little Celestis there.
Just a little scholastic.
Just a little bit.
Well, I mean, you don't have the benefit of like redirecting everything and controlling the reach like a Celestis does. Anyways, I'm gonna roll some
6
dice.
dice.
Probably not that many. 6 of them.
You know, if you form a symbiotic relationship with
2
a Golem,
successes.
it might be a Celestis.
Oh, I didn't contain. Sorry. So that was the spell
That
roll.
was a spell roll.
This
Yes.
is.
And
All
you
right,
did.
I also
contain.
contained the boy.
So yes, you and Jose the Horse have never felt. Well,
Well, I have felt better. Jose has never
Right.
felt better.
riding down into town, and
He's ready to run.
Jose's chest is out, and it's that high like parade step. It's like I never trained him for this.
What's the Prancy boy step?
Dressage horses? Or
Yeah.
no. Well, yes, dressage horses like dance. My roommate had saddlebreds. They prance when they walk. That's like their whole deal. They just show off different fancy walks.
Oh Lord.
And suddenly my
I know
head
there's
is
like
in
17
Monty Python
I
skit.
know there's like 17 horse words for different walking
Right.
speeds, but
Can't and half can't and yeah.
canter and yeah,
The only can't that matters
Thieves
is a
can't.
thieves can't.
I beat you there. Yeah, and then I guess Isabel rides off into the sunset.
Close, yeah. Basically down into town,
It's safe.
gathering up,
It's fine.
a couple other
We know it's morning.
the folks
No
with
worries.
the Warner's sharpshooters, and
Right.
we'll be right back. We're 5 minutes over. Oh my God, what's happened? Time for our commercial break. Twitch guys, get up, walk around, get something to drink, go to the bathroom, pet your dogs, touch grass, something. YouTube guys will be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
See you soon.
Yeah, so Isabel meets up with 4 of Warner's troubleshooters on horses. These guys are good riders, probably folks that Isabel knows just because of the stables and Jose and stuff like that.
Right.
All 4 of them have like long rifles tucked into the like saddle holster, and are kind of sitting, looking a little bit bored and nonchalant, but it is that very like, it's cool, yeah, this is no big deal, but there's definitely some like, this could be some shit, especially if it's just the handful of us.
They're probably just trying to play it cool for the lady sheriff.
Well, I mean, beyond that, also amongst each other. You basically just head out in the direction. Cool.
Yep.
Unknown and unfelt by you, you are shadowed by Noel Hill, headed back. Now, quick reminder for Craig, you don't have any kind of like telepathic communication to Noel, so he's basically going to have to fly out and come back in order for that to inform you. We have the telepathy between...
He'll be way faster than horses though, right? So,
actually, that's a good question.
Yeah, it's a Newman to actually be really fast.
Right, Newman like really cranks the speed up, but they are faster than humans.
Yeah.
I
know I gave that one to Gabe so that he could like run very far.
Right, because he was
get back.
super zoomy. So speed of, come on, there we go. What do we have? Very large. No, that's size. Speed. There we go. So wolf is 8. Horses are probably there or maybe a little bit slow. Oh, excuse me. No. 12. Oh, right. Because this is the species factor. This is not their actual speed. So horse speed is 12. So yeah, actually horse is probably pretty close to ghost. Because by default, scrolling down here, because it's been a while since we had to get Gabe in. Game systems. I guess
horses can maintain a speed of 32 miles an hour for hours, and they can sprint much faster. So
yeah, there we go. Speed is equal to power plus finesse plus species factor, and the species factor is their basic species factor of 5. So they're faster than humans, but I don't think they outpace a horse. Not without the speed numina. But yeah, like I said, shadowed by the tromping farmer from the beyond, following after. And then Babasera is finishing their, girded loins and took off towards the farms. And so, we jump over to Legba real quick after basically setting up hey, I'm your anchor for Gisela. For Isabel. Not actually casting a spell yet. Is that something that you plan to do ahead of time or just kind of at the spur of a moment?
Instant cast collocation.
Sure. And that's kind of what I figured.
Wants to avoid casting it unless necessary.
Right. And with that set up, you arrive to the the mines, and everybody's kind of coming out of the mines. Furnace, you can see, is getting swarmed with questions about what's going on. Sanite and Messi J are working with the Maroons because you've got your own shift leader, but they're the two that everybody kind of defaults to. And for after a year now of this kind of new normal, Cloak is definitely part of the cult, and welcome, and nobody treats him any differently except for the fact that he's not quite part of the cult, but they don't look to you for leadership. Messi J and Sanite, though, do look over and expect a rundown without delving into everything, because we just covered in the first half of the episode. Is there anything that you specifically point out, or any kind of game plan that you try and nudge them into?
He's going to say something.
Them?
He's going to say something to them, and I also think would be a good opportunity to note something about the kind of interaction he wanted to have with the cult that you and I discussed. Cloak wanted to move in a position where he would be in regular contact with Sanite and Messi J for anything they needed. But the other members of the cult wouldn't depend upon him directly as much anymore unless it was something that they thought would be good for them to talk about. Like his goals and self-improvement and stuff like that, which they're going to be helping them with. But if one member of the cult approaches Sanite or Messi J and says, hey, I really want to understand my dreams and all of this and really want to eliminate some of these deep-seated problems, they can say, well, you might have a visit from Legba, and then they can contact me, and then we'll have that contact.
I like that.
Cool. All right. So then the thing that he mentions to the two of them is that he would suggest that no one commit violence in their own self-defense in the course of this, because everyone else is handling it, and it would be a good opportunity to avoid setting a precedent that when someone dangerous comes into town, the first thing that happens is that the black people will take weapons and then bludgeon them to death. So it'd be good if they were peaceful first. And then in the event that it's necessary, you can have all these extremely well-trained, not just in terms of like physical ability, but they're also practicing martial arts, right? They have the Lut Senegalese that they train in. Yeah. So I think it's a good precedent for them to not feel it their first responsibility is martial defense of the town. That keeping themselves alive and away from the violence would be the best thing for them.
Sure. Sanite, takes it the step farther and says, I think we need to go. And there's a look to Messi J as they have this look, because they're not twins, right? They're just sisters.
No, they're sisters.
Right. And there's a definite like, oh yeah. And without even like saying anything to you, like start giving out orders of, let's start clearing up and kind of cleaning up the mine, the first front section, basically in case we have people that need to find refuge back here. And because they say, Cloak is right. We don't want to go out and fight. But if they're going to come after us, we'll defend in the mines because we know the mines.
Absolutely.
So like they start cutting out some of the lights, turning off some of the lamps so the cave itself is darker, and just set up a like, hey, this is a cool, quiet, calm place. The meditation room is fairly large because if I remember correctly, the whole shift would go in. Yeah. Okay. So,
that's right.
Could squeeze 10 people in there very comfortably. More than that, and it gets kind of tight, but, and so, just if nothing else, just that way, nobody's sitting around and you get that nervous, idle energy. Cool.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So then, we pick up with, Sheriff Isabel riding off with the sharpshooters. Well, not sharpshooters, troubleshooters. And basically, do you try and follow the tracks back? Or is it more of trying to find an advantageous, because, there are some of these hills and stuff like that throughout the prairie. What's kind of your goal?
I think I try and get them to stopping off in some different spots. As sort of a relay line of watching out, stuff like that.
Yeah, so not necessarily...
with the idea that eventually I will be by myself.
Okay.
I will be the last one, and then find those tracks.
Right. And so relay line long ways out, or...
wide.
Okay, yeah, cool. So doing this kind of border, which is a little bit beyond Legba's ward, but in order to be forewarned, you got to get a little bit out there because the ward is not huge. So kind of drop off, and basically everybody is more or less not necessarily in sight of each other, though with enough flat spots you can kind of look over towards somebody. Somebody suggests, hey, we have, some of these, mirrors, pieces of brass or whatever, so they can kind of flash at each other, and they kind of get settled down off their horses so they're not, standing up high in the prairie, and just kind of settle in, because if they, if these bandits are coming in, in mass, you'll be able to see them far easier than the individual folks are. And when you drop off the last guy and continue off and start following the tracks.
Mm-hmm. I probably need to roll survival, huh?
Uh-huh. Probably wits plus survival. Two successes. Yeah. Find tracks and immediately be able to follow them. Definitely no penalty, because once you're actually out there, it's like, oh yeah, this is a fairly well-trodden path. You've got horse and, depending on who was riding or not, 6 to 7 different footsteps. And it was definitely not a, sand people walking in a single file line kind of situation. It's more of a clump. Start to follow it back. How long do you ride out? Because getting them set up, takes you,
How long did they say they had ridden in?
It was hours.
Okay, then not very far.
Okay, yeah. So
half hour tops.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, still fairly close. And following the tracks back, you can, especially since they came the direct route, the river is off a ways, since you get basically cutting the hypotenuse of a triangle. And yeah, at this point, well out of sight of anybody, and kind of looking out, you can see. You kind of squint, you can kind of follow the trail through some of the grass and stuff like that where they had come through.
Can I cast a spell? Zoom in. Gonna get my eagle on.
Mm-hmm. Gonna have the Assassin's Creed moment. We'll be jumping over to Baba Sera. Well, Widow Stokes momentarily.
Same answers as before.
Mm-hmm. Of 5, yeah. Oh. Other type of eagle. Okay. I was thinking like eagle spirit or, bird spirit.
Oh, no.
I got you. No, this works just fine.
4 dice. And 2 dice paradox.
Sure.
Contained.
Getting blood noses.
2 successes on 4 dice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Craig.
Greg taking the low rolls. Yeah. And also
whoosh. Start off with a critical success on the first roll of the night. So.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, zooming in. And,
up to 3 miles.
Some elf eyes.
Yes. And I imagine you get a little bit of some form of elevation, yeah. And look out, and especially once you throw that on, you can spot the camp very, very easily. Rilla and Gisela were able to spot it once they were right on top of it. You have a little more distant view from your spot, but you are also zooming in closer. And you can see them, and there's no party sallying forth already on the move or anything like that, which is the immediate concern. But it is a beehive of activity. You do see people getting horses ready. You see wagons being like packed up, carts and wagons being like attached to animals. So they're ready to move en masse. Where, not quite sure, but there's a lot of activity and milling about. And then give me a wits plus composure.
Ooh.
Yay, perception.
With a bonus from your zoom in.
Take it. Oh yeah. Got 9 dice.
Cool.
3 successes.
Yeah. So your view, just doing I imagine, more careful sweep of what's going on here. And the fact that you're like, I'm just going to sit up here and watch thing. How long do you have zoom in for?
It's a duration spell, right? It's a advanced scale. Or advanced duration. So
okay.
A day.
Right. So watching and kind of and I'm making assumptions here, but looking for leadership and who's giving orders, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have, the command tent kind of thing in the center that kind of stands out. And while there's a lot of back and forth of a lot of people moving around, there's one guy who seems to just live in that center section that people are coming to talk to, sends off. So he may walk away, but comes back and is always here at this, basically central place. And where everybody else has looked fairly rough, and, gives no fucks about their attire. This guy is a little bit more put together. Definitely hasn't had his clothes washed in a little while, but has put a little bit more care into, like, actually tucking his shirt in and stuff like that. Shoulders back, very leadership kind of material. A little on the lean side, but tall, like 6'5", comparing him to a lot of the other folks, and pushing into maybe 50s. His hair's going from, black to a little bit of salt and pepper kind of look to it, and seems to be the one giving the orders. Has 2 6 guns on his hip. And his attire is, maybe that vest came from New York City, but most of his clothing still seems, kind of rough and frontier ready. And I guess it would just adds to it, but yeah, nobody seems to be like saluting him or anything like that.
I'm trying to hinder their progress.
And how do you wish to do this?
The only way Isabel knows is storm time.
Oh, okay. I was like, you got a wide range of stuff.
A couple
Plenty
ways.
of opportunities. Yeah. Cast repel in the center of town, make them all run in different directions, and their horses go in another direction.
Or just call down lightning.
You could put them all to
Or just
sleep.
call
I don't think we have call lightning just yet. Do we? Hang on. Is that just forces?
If there is a thunderstorm going on, you can call lightning out of it. But you can't just yeet lightning out of your fingertips till free.
But thankfully, you can make a storm.
Mm-hmm. Funny how that works. All right. This is where the paradox might come from.
Dun, dun, dun.
Ooh, man.
Storm time.
sensory,
Oh, shit.
duration, scale, more drastic weather change, because you've described it as a pretty nice day, plus 2 spells.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
So 8.
So I am looking real quick for the calling down lightning part. Where is that off of?
It's a separate spell.
Oh, sure. Is it control electricity?
Control electricity, I believe.
Ruling. Yeah, it just seems like a practice of ruling.
Because specifically 3 is the one that calls down lightning from a stormy sky.
Actually. Oh, I thought it was 2 for a while. Sorry.
That's okay. That's fine. Still, a storm is going to really fuck them up anyways. And besides, then you can just call it Alpha off. Right to it.
And I'm going to release the paradox.
Oh!
Okay.
Because
I don't know what that does.
That's
I
fine.
think you can... We've literally never done it. Because I think she can feel that the spell is too big.
It's real big and, yeah, maybe problematic.
Gonna kill you.
And I will...
I won't kill you, but...
I will straight up tell you that the Diamond Order basically told you to never do this because it's dangerous. I don't even know that they would have prepped you with, what
With what it's going to do.
Mm-hmm. So that's 7 overreach. Mana or anything like that to...
Don't you have your dedicated magical stool on you?
I do have my dedicated magical tool for this one.
Okay.
Instead of my soul stone,
Okay.
for sure.
So that brings it down to
So
5.
5. I won't spend any mana.
Yeah, because that's the thing. If you're going to release it, you might as well just let it ride.
Exactly. The whole goal is that it should be... I still want to get the spell off, though.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 5 dice. Wah, wah.
Wah, wah. It's going to be a little spooky down there.
Yeah, let's see here. I got to remind
All right, so
myself.
one die off of my roll. I know that much.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do, do, do.
5.
Releasing. Success. Paradox occurs regardless.
8.
Taints the spell and potentially the area around the spell's subject, which fortunately is the camp over there.
Way over there.
Right. Does
It's way over there.
3 miles away.
Them.
It's fine. It's probably fine.
Paradox anomaly occurs. Utilize number of successes as reach. That's right. Okay. 2 successes. Cool. So the spell does go off.
Goes off. And it's drastic and sudden.
Right. And we're going for heavy rainstorm, thunderstorm.
Straight to heavy thunderstorm. Like out of fucking nowhere.
This is some magical shit.
And impose. I could spend a reach to impose a condition on the subject of the spell.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally raining sideways.
Give them an abyssal perennium. Anybody get that pun?
Sadly not.
The taint?
Oh, okay. That's
Thank
what
you
I
for
thought
your
you were
going for us. Like,
I was like, is this a bug thing?
Did he really just say that? Yeah.
right.
I did. I did.
That's the best thing about the new Wheel of Time series. Ask me about it on Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Undo or apply a single reach. What reach did we use?
Sensory.
No, which ones?
Yeah. Sensory, duration, scale.
Instant.
Instant can't change. That's the one that's off
Right.
limits.
Oh, that's right.
And then there's a specific one, right, for the spell?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Which technically doesn't actually mess with. It's one thing I appreciate. I can't fuck with that.
Can I-
just the
Right.
common reach stuff.
Can I make a suggestion?
Oh, sure.
Boosting potency or area?
It's already at advanced scale, and basically because I can't actually mess with potency in any way, it's just reach that I get to mess with, or a condition. And I think
Or
actually I am going to do condition. It happens. You don't know what the condition is. I do. But
cool.
Over the area, because the drastic change happens within an hour, right? I think is what it says.
Oh no.
Does it happen right away?
Oh no. No, you have to spend the reach for it to take an hour.
Oh, that's right.
It's just
to
fucking
make
happens.
it look more natural, you have to pay extra.
Which
It's
actually does remind me.
crazy magical.
Oh, this is definitely hubris, by
Clouds
the way.
start boiling out of the clear sky over the camp.
Yeah.
This is shit of biblical proportions.
Yes, actually, I was thinking of the Mummy movie because there's a bit where the storm just starts to roll up. So that's right. So we have the drastic changes. That's right. Over the next few hours. Yep. So this just fucking happens. It does create a extreme environment condition. Potency determines the maximum amount of extreme environment can change. So it was at level 0. Did you add potency? No. So it doesn't actually get into a environmental damage.
Right.
So they're not. It's nasty, but not necessarily like throwing them on the ground or anything like that.
Right. That's not what I was going for.
But yeah, as it kind of whips up, and you can definitely see cowboy hats flying off, and the tone of the camp though changes just from up there where you're sitting, and with the advanced scale, I imagine, and distance that you're at, it's like, oh yeah, no, the storm's happening over there. I'm cool and dry over here. But you watch as I'm trying to see how much you would tell or how it would look on your end. But there's a lot more angry expressions. A lot more irritation. You kind of have to squint into the storm a little bit, but zoom in, I feel like helps with some of that anyways. And hell, we'll throw in the fact that you already have some forces, so whatever. But like it gets more agitated, and you watch at one point the guy in the lead, who's probably where most of your attention is focused, so sweeping around to see what else is going on. At one point draws a gun and puts it to a guy's chest, and yelling at him, and when obviously wind carries his words away, but your way ways anyway. And there's a little back and forth heated exchange. You watch the guy kind of push his chest into the gun, and then you watch this man execute this guy.
Oh shit!
And I just realized we may want to reroll that paradox.
Why so?
Because there's a crowd of fucking sleepers.
Oh my
mark?
god!
Ooh,
Yeah, it's
that's
everyone.
true.
There's dice trick.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I would suggest that you could just give Drew more dice and just roll those extra dice, similar to how we worked it with mine.
Because technically going to get one more dice, but the big thing here is the dice trick, so we get the repeat rolls. Like that 9 again would have.
Sure.
So we are going to do 6 dice, because good point. It is a sleeper, and then this is a large crowd.
Oh, right, 9 again. Yeah.
Rote.
Yeah, we are in rote territory. Yeah.
So you rolled 5. So roll 7 right now.
How are we
Just
jumping
re-roll
up
the
to?
5. If it's rote, you re-roll the 5, and then you get plus
It should
1
have been
more.
6.
Should have been 6.
So you got to roll 1 from the 5 that you didn't roll before, and then 1 more, and then you're saying roll 6 again, and roll 1
just
more.
Oh,
short
okay.
cutting
I got you, Chris. I
just-
thought you were.
Road is essentially rolling twice as many
Yeah,
dice.
that's right.
I thought you were just
For all intents and purposes.
starting from 7 as rote. I got you now.
No. So roll,
All right, let
Oh,
me
man.
go back to my menu of options here.
Oh,
Uh,
geez.
All right. So I would have chopped off more dice out of my pool, but I had successes in the first ones. So call it even at you getting a stronger thing here.
Yep. Or more fun to play
with four reach all day.
4 reach, or doing things like changing the subject of the spell,
or creating an
abyssal environmental tilt.
Yep. There we go.
Yep.
That's fun.
Or
get the
applying more
conditions
reach.
and the
I got at least
environmental
one beat out of this
Or,
for us. No, 2 actually.
Or more conditions.
I mean, also, maybe you just ruin these guys' whole everything.
And
Maybe.
that's where you would get into some nasty more wisdom. But no, in this particular case, yeah, actually my story continues from your vantage point with no change. Because I figured out what I'm going to spend this on.
Yeah.
Love it. The abyssal environmental tilt.
Hell yeah.
But yes, so we cut back to now it's no actual retcon, just a change to where it was going. Yeah, you watch as this man gets executed. His body drops. You kind of hear the shot at a distance as it just crosses over the prairie. And like some of the movement in the camp kind of pauses around as people look over to see, what the hell was that? And the guy kind of swings his gun round in a very anybody else have a problem kind of motion, pulls a shell to reload, puts it back in,
Right.
and stands, hands on hips, and you watch as the rain is just battering at this guy, and he, kind of wobbles a little bit, but again, like we said, it's not whatever. It's not causing him any real problems other than just getting soaked to the bone. And after a moment, you watch as the man not beside him, on the ground, starts to stand up.
Oh, shit. Oh.
He says, you got any idea how much that stings?
Oh, no. What have you done?
Yeah.
What have I done?
What have you done?
What have you
What
done?
did you do?
Oh,
What
I
have
hadn't
you
even thought of
done
that.
to me? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh boy.
So
boy.
we jump over to
Came through. Came on through.
I straight up. Please.
I just got to add some flavor, and as that's happening, there's a big peal of thunder.
So yes, we jump over to
I think Isabel more or less blacks out after seeing that.
well, we're going to put a pin there. We'll come back. Actually, we will call that the end of the scene. Go ahead and roll your Acto Hubris, which is definitely 3 dice.
It's fine.
Yep.
I didn't do anything wrong.
Songbird and fucking Isabel both just
You're
like
completely aware of all the consequences that this was gonna do.
Really thought that one through.
yeah. So we
Remember, wisdom is not morality.
That's exactly right.
wisdom is the mage morality stat. No, it ain't.
No, it's not.
So yes, we jump over to Theo, who just made a bit of a impression on some town folk as she goes running through the streets in her good boots, right?
Showing off ankles. Showing off ankles.
A little bit. Well, if she's got the boots, it'll be safe. But and making it down towards the farm. Now, there are definitely some of the farmers who were on horses and had gone home already who've kind of beaten you there. And some of the farmers from the outer edges kind of are coming in. And there's a nice little spot where the various paths and roads go out to all the other different farms. It's a very well set up crossroad that I feel like at more than once that Legba has been set up at in the dark of nights at midnight. I think is when you did it, Legba.
Yeah, midnight on Saturday.
And just like, oh yeah, sometimes I visit the farmers too. But it's a good central spot. It's more or less the middle of the various sprawling stuff, and some of the farmers are talking about what's going on, and you basically come into conversation of Warner's getting his guys out with guns, and they're it's basically bastardized version of what Isabel and Warner had basically explained.
Yeah. And Theo would say, we don't know that there's trouble coming. We're just getting ready in case, and we're scouting it out. If anyone wants to go into town, they can put you up in the church or the mine if anyone wants to feel safer there.
And there's immediately there's one or two folks who immediately are like, no, that's fine. Yeah, we're none of this matters to us, in terms of their plot. It's like, we can rebuild. There's nothing worth taking. The worst they can do is set fire to our crops, which will suck. But we have, neighbors and stuff like that. We'll all band together and we'll take care of stuff. So there's 2 or 3 who, from your experience, live a far more pacifist life, who just like, if there's actual violence being visited upon them or threatened to them, they just walk away and be like, it's not worth it. We're not getting in a fight. I'm not going to harm somebody else to protect my shit. And they just kind of like, all right, yeah, we'll go. And, a couple of them, kind of organized, like, okay, yeah, we'll get so-and-so's wagon. We'll load everything up, that we care about and head back into town. One of the folks, whoops. And for all the people who've been totally asking in chat, they haven't been. Rilla is currently like basically playing babysitter for a bunch of, families and stuff like that, trying to help organize things. But yeah, Abram Hill
teacher does. That's what the school teacher does.
Yep. But yeah, Abram Hill, old crotchety motherfucker, kind of comes up to Widow Stokes and says, so what do you think? We can use the bridge as a choke point?
If we need to. They got scouts out now, so we'll have word before there's trouble.
Okay. And like turns around, and this guy has clearly been in some form of combat. Because there's these nice little stone fence lines that, kind of demarcate all the various different farms and stuff like that. And he starts shouting at some of his farm hands, and the farmer over the way, one of Anastasio's cousins or nieces or nephews. It's hard to keep track of them all. And it's like, all right, yeah, let's get set up over here. Let's bring out some, you got boxes of ammo still from the last hunting trip. Yeah. And he starts organizing basically this. It's a tiny little area, but if they're coming, they've got to come across the bridge, or they're going to try and cross the purgatory, which, as everybody knows, nobody crosses the purgatory. Not in mass like that. That's just going to piss the river off. Which, for some reason, over the past year, the superstitions about the river seem to have really kind of amped up. And specifically because the bridge is here and it's safe, and all the stories of all the bad stuff about crossing the purgatory have been the only stories people tell about it, as opposed to, oh yeah, so-and-so crossed it the other week, it's fine. No. All people talk about is, yeah, so-and-so, little Jimmy was playing it and drowned, are the only real stories now left to the river. So they, line up and lean up and start to organize right there in that space. But otherwise, anything you were doing while out there?
No, just pass the word, and then get other folks to pass the word, sort of form a chain, and then I'm heading home.
Gotcha. Yep.
To talk to Catherine.
Yep. So Catherine is there, shotgun in hand, with Valosia, and they've heard, but we're not out amongst the group because they're just waiting for you to report back. Mm-hmm. And Catherine kind of looks up at you and goes, "All right, well, I don't like that expression, but what's going on?"
There's some bad folks, bandits. Some of their prisoners escaped and made it their way to town. And the sheriff are heading out to get some eyeballs on them to see where they are and what they're up to, and if they're coming this way or not. But if they come there's a bunch of them, like there's 40 of them or something.
Wow. Okay. Well, they'll leave us alone, I'm sure, but... All right, well, I'm glad you're here instead of out among all them. Like, pulls you into a hug and, like... At this point, it's just like, well, gonna weather the storm. Oh, no, there's a tornado might show up. We're gonna sit in the basement. Actually, is she aware of the supernatural, magical significance of, like, the basement? Other than she's allowed down there, but...
Well, there's the basement, like the root cellar for the house. That's not the workshop.
Right. No, I know. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Is she aware that, because obviously, like, you and Legba had been down there earlier, hanging out in the root cellar? No, you disappeared somewhere, and she just doesn't ask questions.
I'm hoping, but Theo's policy has always been she will answer any question openly and truthfully, but she won't offer information.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's one of those things of, if she, she is at this point kind of familiar with the whole, if I don't ask questions about weird stuff, I don't get weird, complicated answers. And she just kind of keeps her nose out of trouble. Because for everything else, you're always, very forthcoming about information. So yes. And as Perry says, whether or not she remembers the answer, remember, she does remember something. It's just, it makes sense to her afterwards. Just don't try and prod her about those answers. So you guys set up shop, and do you go back out with the farmers, or is it just like, nope, just gonna...
No, I'm in my home. This is my people, and I'm gonna park here.
Sure.
If things develop, then I'm sure I'll either be contacted or we'll see shit happening.
Right. Okay. That's perfect. And so then we jump over to Gisela, who's there in the middle of town with a bunch of other folks who have rifles, and Warner is out with a gun belt. It looks real weird on him. Like, not his thing. Very clearly, not quite his size. Not that Warner is a super large gentleman. This thing is really small, but it's just like, it doesn't have a belt hole, whatever, to actually fit properly, for his, size or whatever. And he's trying to organize stuff, and he's talking about getting ladders out to get up on some of the buildings that are closer to, where they might be coming from, so that they have an elevated position. And he's getting, very as militaristic as he can. Now, nobody's being sent up there or anything like that, though some ladders are coming out, and a couple of the, handyman and, carpentry inclined folks are making some thrown together ladders so that people can get up on rooftops or up in, for instance, the tavern has some of the second story windows that they can look out from, and just kind of organize them. Okay, you'll go here, you'll go here, you'll go here. And basically is organizing where everybody is going to be if the bells ring 4 times or something like that. You are not the only frontiersy woman to show up with a rifle. Besides Isabel, it's like, hey, no, there's definitely some of these women who are good shots. And, some of the pairs of, husband and wife who, are both good shots, and the kids are off with Rilla. Rilla is at the church, entertaining kids and talking and, going over lessons just to try and make things normal as things get organized. Is there anything specifically that you were up to?
I think with if we can gather people like together as we're getting situated, I want to try to give just like a general boon to everyone.
Okay, so
I guess
remember that for an area of effect thing, it's while you are in that area of effect.
Okay.
Right. So
it doesn't apply to people in the AoE.
Well, it would.
It's people while they are in this AoE.
Right. Because if we think of way back to Weird and her anti-gravity dancing on the ceiling, and how well that worked out.
But skill
it worked out really well.
So.
It brought the group closer together.
You broke your leg. Yes. So you can do that, and potentially cast it on the entire town, or at least one segment of town, because that's going to be close into the. Gotta find my.
Yeah, it's what I'm looking for. It's exceptional luck, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do that for like the city block size scale. This is a small town.
Yeah, city block would cover basically the side of the town where people are going to be stationed up. So that'd be scale at -8. Though admittedly, with how many people you have defending, scale -6 with 40 subjects, that might actually be literally everybody who's actually got a gun. Now that I think about it. So you could do that and just be like, you and check everybody off. I really do need to figure out the exact population of this town. But 40 people who are good with rifles sounds about right. You might be like, okay, some people you don't get to be lucky, but
yeah. So for my reaches, instant duration, because potency spell. So I'm gonna need a minus for duration as well to make it last. Or
you can cast it.
Does it need potency?
That is what I was looking at right now.
Can I just use the reach instead to change the factor?
That would make it advanced duration, blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, because you could just give them a boon.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. I was just going to give them a boon.
Yep. So, yeah, that's advanced duration, and then advanced a reach to swap potency to duration. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then advanced scale.
Mm-hmm.
And then the -6.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Now the boon.
I need to look this up.
Right, because you could do specific conditions, which like charmed is just the really good one. That's where just things end up being lucky for you. A bullet ends up hitting, your, lighter. Well, no lighters here, but things like that. Or, and this is where the potency would come in, it's where you give dice bonus to like firearms. But the potency would be the bonus. But if you're just doing a condition, you don't even need to worry about that.
Yeah, I was looking to get them a condition so that it would also... I need to look up what the conditions are. So I was looking for one that would also, be somewhat defensive.
Steadfast kind of helps in that. When you fail to roll, you may choose to resolve the condition to instead treat it as if you rolled a single success. That's not great for shooting, because rolling a single success may not be enough to... Actually, I guess it would, because you're up against their defense. So yeah, that would actually make, the lucky shots, but it's 1. And if it's a chance die, you can instead resolve that to roll a single die instead. But yeah, Steadfast is good for that. Charmed is that, sheer luck where you just win out. And notably, that's the one that lets you reduce an injury down to just 1.
Yeah, somebody shoots you in the head.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, Charmed is the very, very good catch-all. So, yeah.
So for my mantras, I've got I'm going to use my shadow name as this one. So that's 2 with the Cabal theme.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one for my needle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially for the command rod aspect.
Does this look right?
Reach. Don't care about duration because that's already bumped. Scale covered that. Yeah, so you're rolling 5 dice. And spending a willpower. Cool. And one
that
chance
is
die.
overreaching by 2. So
Yep, one chance die. Well, I am on fire with the paradox. Admittedly, Chris's was a bit of a gimme because releasing, but
wisdom
With
is
obvious
8.
magic.
don't get
Exceptional success on
anything from that.
But that doesn't matter.
Mhm.
And then the spell is 5. So close. Oh my
Wait,
god.
what are your praxis?
That might be one of them, actually. Let me
Because
check.
it's like that's the classic like Acanthus one to grab as a praxis.
I think it might be superlative luck instead. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Or that's my rote. My praxis or divination and serendipity.
Gotcha. But yeah, nonetheless, you reach out and be like, okay, everybody's got that little bit of luck. Actually, out of curiosity, how good of a shot is your dad? I imagine not,
Yeah, I was thinking not.
because he was not frontiersy in any way, so he didn't.
No, he was like a woodcutter. He was a kohler.
Mhm.
He cut down and burned trees.
No need to learn to shoot, really. Yeah.
Yeah, she basically learned shooting, taught herself
Sure.
by necessity.
Mhm. Yep.
Took up learning how to go hunt.
Well, especially because every time your dad went to hunt, could never find anything, gun jammed. Yeah, all the bad luck.
No one ever got shot. So
Yep, it was all his bad
could've
luck
been
after
worse.
all. Yep. Yes. Spell kind of lingers off, which just, for the Imago side, what does she see in her head? What does this kind of blessing look like from Arachne?
I'm kind of seeing it as like a silver thread over everyone,
Mhm.
like tying us all, and just sort of wrapping around and laying down on them. Like in my head, it's like a sort of like a protective blanket.
You get a safety blanket, you get a safety blanket, you get a safety blanket.
Yeah.
I dig it. Cool. So we cut back to Chris and Miss Sheriff Isabel up on the hill. So you were talking about blacking out. Are you sticking with that in terms of like?
Oh, she straight up panic and just runs galloping back into town.
Gotcha.
Oh shit!
Okay.
Awesome.
Dope. Let us take a condition then to reflect that sudden fear. Spooked
Do you say
seems
anything to
rather
Legba?
appropriate. Nope, excuse me. Shaken. Spooked is not overt enough to terrify. Shaken is the nope, actually scared. So yeah, anytime your character is taking an action where fear might hinder, you can opt to fail the roll, resolve the condition. Yeah, which is just giving into fear and failing a roll. Yep. Just to, because hey, if you're that scared, absolutely. So your galloping back is going to end up leaving the sharpshooters, the troubleshooters out there still on watch, basically, or is it a oh fuck, everybody go back home?
I leave an open canvas of how people react.
Well,
but-
specifically because I don't know that they would necessarily see you coming back.
I mean, it's
Okay,
your
cool.
call.
That's fine.
Whatever you feel makes.
You're
a
not
better
stopping to say
dramatic
anything
thing.
to them. You're just.
But this is for reasons that we'll very soon get
Yep.
into. This is hardcore problematic for Isabel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you race back into town. Some of the folks who are kind of on lookout now, watching for the riders, see you like riding up and like you're not waving or, shouting anything. And so as you ride up, somebody comes up and, grabs Jose, kind of, patting him and looking up at you and, Sheriff, what's wrong?
It like straight up takes her seconds to like register.
What'd you see, Sheriff? Are they coming?
No. I thought I could see the camp, but there's, well,
yeah, you can see the storm now.
Points to the storm. That storm just opened up out of nowhere.
Yeah, we all noticed. Kind of nodding, and one of the guys says, "Well, maybe that'll cover the tracks." Maybe. Okay. Well, and the guy holding. I'll brush down. Jose, you can. Warner's set up in the tavern. If you're looking for him.
All right.
You can tell because for the most part, Sheriff Isabel is self-composed and
put together.
This is very odd behavior. Curious.
Yeah, and there's no explaining it.
Curiously, how much of this, because the attainment for telepathy only allows thoughts that the originating subject want to pass on, how much of this does Isabel pass on to Cloak on the ride in? Or is this just in her own head?
I think Cloak gets a steady hum of "it's happening again." Just over and over and over again, subconscious leaking out of her. I think is a cool way to
Ooh, I like
this.
that. And how long is the ride in?
From where she was at, actually, if she went straight back, an hour.
Yeah.
After a half an hour of that steady hum? Because he's pretty patient. He asks, what is happening again?
Oh, right. Legba's in my head.
The dead walk the earth.
One moment, and you feel the connection drop.
Ring, ring.
Yep. And then Theo feels, I'd like to talk to you.
Theo, what did you do?
Can I do that mentally, or do I have to verbally?
Yes, it is because it's all telepathy.
Okay. Yep. Hi.
Hello. I was just speaking with Isabel.
Mm-hmm.
She says that the dead walk the earth.
It happens.
She panic screamed into your brain that it's happening.
It happens from time to time.
Yes, well, she said this to me as explanation for 30 minutes of her repeating subconsciously, "It's happening again, it's happening again, it's happening again." I gave her pause to collect herself, but perhaps I should have asked a question sooner.
Well, that's a story that's going to take a little unpacking.
Yes.
No shit.
I suspect we're going to have to deal with something sooner. Then we'll be able to unpack the story fully.
Possibly. It depends on how the dead were walking. Should I head into town?
I suggest you head to the tavern.
Okay.
That's probably where she is. I'm going to talk to her again, and then I'll see you.
Now,
Okay.
I will remind you guys do have the domain set up there at, Baba Sera's place if you guys are intending.
Oh, yeah. To do something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. No, yeah, actually, you know what? He says, no, let's meet at your workshop.
Take Gisela.
So then Legba, or Cloak, reaches out to, because he's not in Legba yet, he reaches out to Isabel again.
Who at this point now is
Ring,
probably
ring.
in the tavern.
Yeah.
Hello again.
Everything's fine.
I doubt that it is. I suggest that you meet myself and Theo in her workshop. Do you know how to get there?
I think so, right?
Yeah,
I can't remember if she's been there yet.
Maybe I haven't been there.
Well, you've been to the house anyway.
Right. That's true.
Come to her house. We'll go there together. I'm going to summon Gisela.
Okay. Because otherwise I'm just going to like grab her out of the crowd.
Oh, she's in the crowd. Okay, cool. If you say,
I'm
I'll
on
just
the
get
roof.
Gisela.
Well, not
Oh,
yet.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because the idea of going up on the roof is when like the bells ring.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So yeah, whether you want to do it or Cloak reaches out to everyone, there's a reason why he wants to do this too. So
Yeah.
Sure.
so then Gisela gets a ping.
Thank you for that expression, Ash. I greatly appreciate
Yeah.
it. What is this?
I don't think this has ever happened before.
Nope.
I'm just gonna kind of step away from everyone else and like behind a building you're like, yes, out loud.
Hello, Gisela. Isabel's encountered something dangerous, I suspect. And we're all planning to meet at Theo's house. Can you join us?
Sure. What's going on?
We'll discuss it
Like-
there. Isabel has some explaining to do.
No, I mean like right now.
Right, presently? You mean you and I?
Yes.
I've attained the ability to talk to you whenever I want with your permission.
Okay.
I can explain in more detail if you'd like.
Sure. I'll be there. I'll head on up now.
All right. So then,
Yeah,
goes
I'll
back
just
to
slip
Isabel.
out of the crowd.
Cloak goes back to Isabel
Mm-hmm.
because he thinks she needs support right now. So after establishing the plan, right, he goes back to Isabel and says, we're all going to meet you. We're all going to talk. And we all support you.
All, huh?
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, no. Then Rilla gets a ping. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. That probably won't happen again. So, yeah, Rilla gets a ping.
Yeah. And you get this two-sided like conversation because she's having a hard time here because she's talking to a bunch of children. It is currently, and you can hear.
She probably can't make it.
Oh, yeah, no, she's super busy. She is, but she basically says, if there's, I'm stuck here, but let me know if there's something I need to do from this side. And then, no, Tommy, put that down. Like, still comes through. Yeah, she's definitely on the flustered side. But she does mention that, hey, Jules is probably bored out of his mind, and I don't know if you want to. I mean,
that's a great idea.
And
if you'd like to be a part of the conversation from where you are, I can make sure that you are present in a way.
Hang on. Sorry. Hey, it like starts yelling at kids also in
Johnny,
your
don't
head.
hit your sister.
It's like, yeah. And it's just like, no, hang on. I'm good. And if you all are busy, then, maybe I'll keep an eye on things here. And yeah, Jules, if something's going on with Isabel, Jules wants to stop that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
And also mentions, do you need to talk to Egrock?
Yeah. I don't know what it is. He's not going to let her know yet. It's the coven first.
Okay. Well, and Rilla was suggesting that because Rilla likes Egrog because
I know. I get that. If she says that, Cloak would say, she will know when it's time for her to know, if there is a time for her to know.
Okay. I will keep my mouth shut. That's fine.
Thank you. I'll be in touch. And then Jules is going to get a ping.
Yep. And we
and
skip over. Jules is like, something is wrong with Isabel. I'll be there. And probably beats you guys to the farm.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
And so we...
Does he, or does he come running to the tavern straight to
No, he goes to the farm. Because if Cloak mentions that's where we're meeting, that's where he
we're
goes.
Meeting at the farm.
Because
all right, the boy's got brains and feelings.
Well, and Jules, like, really, while he's a step or two behind on the whole, like, supernatural thing, the whole secret society thing that you guys have, he's very, very aware of, and leans into it and, like, doesn't make slips. It's something, and some of the stuff with him talking with like Benito, who's Egrog's husband, that's a lot of things that they go back and forth on, because basically Benito, and this is stuff that your characters probably don't know yet, but Benito is the one who covers for Egrog doing weird mage shit, and here it's so much easier because she's a weird person taking stories and stuff like that. So her just being gone for a while, it's fine. Where was she? Oh, she was in the underworld and whatever. She hasn't done that since you guys have been here. Though that is something, Craig, you and I should talk about of, who controls that graveyard? Well, you do. So she's got to figure out some stuff. Yeah. So my fucking graveyard, back off.
Find another one.
Yep.
Do arcane that shit? Fine. It's a.
Yep.
I was here first.
So Isabel more or less does a totally shitty job of explaining what the hell happened, what's going on, why she came galloping back in, almost all the way in town. And then a flimsy excuse that she can try and put together of, I saw something weird. I'm gonna go talk to the Widow Stokes about it.
I like that. And
Warner be like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, Warner looks and goes, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. And like pats your shoulder, and he's very confused at what you've seen, because I'm sure you're not super forthcoming, because you don't tell him the fucking dead have risen. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think because it's like the storm came out of nowhere, and that's everybody's little.
But it's that thing where it's like that is everything she wants. Like she like panic in her eyes, and like that is everything that she wants to just like scream. But she's holding it together. This much.
Makes her way back out to the farm with Jose.
Before everybody arrives, honey, a couple folks from town are coming by to have a chat with me.
Catherine just laughs. This is, I can make some guesses. How many of them?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. We'll be in the basement. Yeah, we'll be in my shop.
Yeah, just 4 of them.
Yeah. Oh, just 4. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Though you may not know Rilla's coming, but yeah.
Yeah.
And so she nods. She's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go put the tea on.
Okay.
And she and Valoja, because I mean the rest of the house is theirs. It's not like they barricade themselves away. It's just like, yep, they're gonna go down into. Of note, the root cellar accessible from the outside.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I figured. So you guys, just because we're getting into the later portions of our episode, and I want to have a good fucking cliffhanger. We are diving into Gisela's. Nope. See, I can't do it. Isabel's Oniros.
Well, we're going to do that, but first we need to see if there's something we need to handle in the fallen world.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because we're going to notice she's in consulate state. It's like, all right, now at this point, Cloak and Theo are probably going to look at each other and be like, we know what to do.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think once Isabel gets to the point of being away from town and gets into the shop, the basement or whatever, I think at that point she's done. Like, can't even really talk about it. Just
1,000-yard stare.
Like full on like sobbing, like traumatic memories, unrepressed, and she's just done. To the point where I don't think you get any information out of her.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
She's inconsolable. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I would have been like arm around her as soon as you walked in, because like
this is a very un-Isabel kind of thing. Jules is freaked out a little bit and like doesn't know what to do.
Theo's pretty calm and just looks at Legba. You have some tools for finding out what's going on in there.
Can only help you sit down and
get comfortable.
Yes.
Sit with you.
I think we all need to help her.
Jules is like, all right, well, you all do what you need to, and like basically
Legba reaches out a hand and says, "You're part of this coven. If you care for her, you should come along."
He and mostly this is from me because I'm like, it's going to be bad enough. I don't need another person in there. But no, Jules is like, no, I'm going to be here, and like pulls his small gun and like finds a spot in the corner and just watching the door. It's
like a little Derringer or like a 30 or something.
Like a 30, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But and notably, like, actually, I'm going to put it to Chris. He is all on board for doing like a cuddling hug from behind, sit here, I've got you kind of. Yeah, okay. And he's like, nope, I'm going to be here. What's going on in there? He like the hands over her ears kind of thing is like, I don't know that I necessarily want to know Isabel that deeply, because this is some of the stuff that he's learning about, and understands like you guys are gonna go deep, and
we are.
He's like, no, I don't need to know her that way, this way, not when she's like this kind of thing.
So Theo's pretty calm through all this, but just pauses before we get into it and say, is this something we should be doing without her consent?
Let me, out of character, ask you, do you ask for consent when you try to stop someone from bleeding out?
No.
This is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Do you remember when I reached your mind that one night?
I do.
Across the sea.
Mm-hmm.
We are taking that route.
Okay.
Because we can't take any other.
Right. Which allows an interaction to happen before we're... Yes.
Yes.
And then
her daemon needs to admit us.
And then kind of realizes that... Doesn't think that Gisela is aware of what they're talking about?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
So they're like, this would be an experience.
Okay.
As a little bit of info, and then Cloak says to Gisela, as promised, I've attained the ability to communicate with people at a distance by taking advantage of the lingering connections between our minds and the astral realms. And I'm attuned to it now, such that I can do two important things. The first is conveniently connect with people that I've connected with before, at a distance, at any distance. And the second is, and he turns to Jules and says, pay attention to what's happening here in the fallen world while we are in the astral realms. If anything happens, you let us know, and I will know immediately. And if you'd like to maintain a conversation, for the sake of your own boredom, we can also do that.
That might be best, otherwise I'm going to be left here with my thoughts.
Let's not have that.
So, you can be in my head. Do I just think at you?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just like, oh man,
You're
that's so
in
much more
control.
convenient than earlier my conversation to myself in an alleyway in town.
Just like trying to talk to myself surreptitiously.
You can connect and communicate with me the same way you did when we were all together that one time in the dreamscape we created.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's effectively the same, but it is just between the two of us. And is restricted to the thoughts you want to share. And then he says, and I should also elaborate, as Theo so kindly suggested. A year ago. He was saying a year ago. A year ago, I first learned that we can connect with each other across the sea of our minds, right? Our minds are effectively islands within a vast ocean. And you can navigate that ocean and get close to the islands, from one island to another, by passing through a strait based on shared thoughts. If you know what's going on in someone's mind or what they might be thinking or dreaming about, you can enter their mind through your own dreams without the use of a direct working of will. And that is what we are going to do to try and help Isabel, because she seems trapped in her own mind right now. And in order to get her out, we're going to have to go there ourselves.
And Jules tightens the hug.
Okay, most of that don't get. I got the last part.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
So, and this is going to be great, because Isabel is not going into her own Oneros.
Correct.
Don't worry, folks at home, we have a plan for this. But everybody else is basically meeting up at Haiti, Port-au-Prince, sort of, and traveling by boat to the island of Isabel.
The Isla.
Yeah. So I am curious, because, hey, we're into the Oneros. What does Gisela look like in the Astral?
Mm-hmm.
Probably just like very similar to herself normally, but
With a leather jacket?
no, like more like she stands taller, she has more presence. In my head, it's the difference between like Shalon and when she showed up at their place the first time, they're just like, oh. Yeah. Just like a more
put together,
more solidified, more power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I dig that. So yeah, the three of you are, on the front of the ship crossing through the sea towards this. Actually, considering we're going to Petrichor, a storm wall, and just crashing into it. Full speed ahead. No, was it damn the engines? There's a step across from Legba's Oneros into Isabel, Petrichor's Oneros, which, Chris, you want to get a little narrative here and kind of set the stage?
Yeah.
Yeah, her Oneros is or at least the part that you're dropped into is this like falling sensation. You catch a brief glimpse of it. It is a Mexican countryside hacienda, big rich people plantation house essentially. Very quickly you're able to probably put together, this was her house. And you have enough time to recognize that, and there's a sweeping vista of the agave plants and tumbleweeds and all that good shit.
The very desert compared to what you've got up here in Colorado,
sure.
Right?
And then you kind of finish that step, and you are in a big lavish bedroom, and standing in front of you is Isabel.
Ooh.
Loaded up with like strapped bandoliers full of shotgun shells and, you know, layers of revolvers and, you know, a big fucking hat and everything like that.
Oh, yeah.
And
Is this over like a pretty dress?
oh yeah. And she just reaches down over on like a dresser and like turns and just she only throws one thing, but to all three of you there is a rifle being tossed for you to catch. Get ready, they're coming.
Cue the doom music. So yeah, gonna help.
All right.
Gonna help Isabel with her inner demons. Not next week.
It's horde mode.
Yes, it's horde. No time to explain. It's horde mode. Thank you, Perry. But yes, we're not doing that next week. Next week, Ash is going to be out, right? Okay. So
Going to New York.
Yay! We're figuring out what exactly we're going to do. We're actually going to discuss that.
We'll be playing
just
a game.
as this ends. So we're going to do a little one shot of something, just to do something different, and that way, you know, Ash can join in on the ripping and tearing until it is done. So for those of you, I think Mike was specifically, is this the episode where somebody gets shot? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But next week, or the week after.
I mean, someone got shot this week.
Next time.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
So yeah, it's the next
Rip
couple
that guy.
weeks. Yeah,
Sort of.
actually, I guess that's true. Are we going to be ripping and tearing? Yeah, Thanksgiving weekend. Well, excuse me, American Thanksgiving weekend. Because we screwed up on, you know, shouting out Canada. Sorry. But yes. Yeah. Quick show of hands. I believe we said everybody was going to be around for Thanksgiving.
Black Friday.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So yes, we will be giving thanks with shotgun shells and zombie hordes and all sorts of
Black Metal Friday.
Black Metal Friday. Ah!
Yeah.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Very good stuff. Yeah. So that aside, thank you all for joining us. It is always a blast to have you along for the ride. If you want to support us monetarily, patreon.com/Occultists Anonymous. If you want to join our, did I say that right? No. Patreon.com/Occultists Anonymous to support us monetarily. StayLucky.club for the quick short link. If you want to come hang out with us on Discord, that's www.yeet into.space. Hang out with us, chat, talk about what kind of weird zombies live in Isabel's brainscape, because that's something I've been playing with, and weird stats because it's the astral and I can get away with basically whatever I want.
You can do whatever you want.
Plain killing floor.
Yep. Yeah, as Perry says, need a new intro and music. I wonder if I can pull that off. We'll see. But if nothing else, I will bust out my leather jacket because, you know. Anyways.
Oh, I have a leather. I told you, Cloak is wearing a leather duster.
Mm-hmm.
From the beginning.
But yes.
Shit's gonna flare out so dramatically.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. It's gonna be good.
We're inside. Where's that wind coming from? Drama. Presentation. Thank you. No, not Hive Mind. Megamind. Anyways, thank you all for joining us. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend or, you know, whatever day it is you happen to be watching this. We'll see you next time.
Mm-hmm. Thanks so much. See you soon.